Okay. Hopefully this takes. This will be take 4 or 5, I think. December 30th, Saturday, 2017. 12 p.m. What do you know? Let's get right into this. This is a document. I'll put the link before where I grabbed it from. In the United States District Court for the Northern District of Nevada, criminal action for full punitive damages, common grand jury demanded. Concerning September 11th Black Op attack on America, 99-9920. Robert Blair, Thomas Deegan, Jeremy Lowe, Peter Ostrowski, Don Bailey, Stephen Dwayne Curry, in private capacity by special appearance only, versus Richard Cheney, John Brennan, John Ashcraft, Robert Mueller, George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush. Hope you can see that. This seems appropriate. Nice little vintage find that the universe threw my way last week. Excellent timing. George H.W. Bush, Kevin Spacey, Barack Obama, John McCain, James Baker, Edgar Bronfman Sr., Paul Wolfowitz, Richard Pearl, Peter Monk, Condoleezza Rice, George Soros, John Kerry, Bandar bin Sultan, David Rockefeller, Brent Snowcroft, Zbigniew Brzezinski, and Hillary Rodham Clinton, Cheney, Brennan et al. With prejudice. Memorandum and order for formal prosecution for Black Op attack of September 11th, 2001. Honorable Jim Hardesty, December 22nd, 2017. The alarming allegations in relation to the purported Black Op attacks of September 11th, 2001, 9/11, are enough to warrant yet another superseding indictment concerning only those events. In the wider context of this issue, each of the accused parties, including Richard Cheney and Brent Snowcroft, will face the death penalty. Others who have already passed on are likewise named for military authorities to recognize every part they played in this modern atrocity. Accordingly, offenses will be directly against Richard Cheney, George W. Bush, and John Brennan in their public and private capacities, rather than only public for all venues, Latin for commerce. The wider context this had with regard to Uranium-1 is also explored. Your Honor, with treason, only a use of force need be proven, as duly noticed on record when it comes to violating 18 U.S.C. 2381, see United States v. Castleman. Et al., pp. 4-10b, Supreme Court. Common law concept of force encompasses even its indirect application, making it impossible to cause bodily injury without applying force in the common law sense. Second, the knowing or intentional application of force is a use of force. Leocal v. Ashcroft, 543, U.S. 1, distinguished. Your Honors are to note again, when it comes to a crime of treason, we need only prove there is sufficient probable cause to warrant the suspicion. The overwhelming amount of photos, military testimony, and video will easily surpass that threshold without further delay as we submit to court. Certainly, they have done absolutely nothing to avail themselves of obvious accountability for the crime of treason and those life-changing repercussions. That is to say, we assert, Your Honors, that defendant Cheney, Bush, Brennan, and now Clinton each violated 18 U.S.C. 2381 more than 8 separate times on official record. In addition, they broke federal conspiracy law on 10 instances. Thereby, in the first instance, we charge offenders Cheney, Rice, George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush, Clinton, John Brennan, George Tenet, Kevin Spacey, Peter Monk, and George Soros et al. With violating 18 U.S.C. 2381, which is the crime of treason. As such, they will each be given a swift military trial and sentenced under Article 50 for acts of treason during wartime. Introduction. America has by now heard of the September 11th Black Op attacks on the United States that took place in 2011. Yet what, 2001. Yet what they didn't know is the level of culpability of the conspirators involved and the exact names of the perpetrators in these attacks. These attacks were a heinous war crime carried out on American shores by rogue intel agencies tied to Israel, but also nations like Saudi Arabia. And to date, they are an absolute dark stain on American history. In order for the nation to move forward, it is now mandatory that this dark chapter be reopened. All of those responsible, as you note, Your Honors, must be brought to justice. After of which it is time to disclose the profoundly hideous role Saudi Arabia played in these attacks, as well as the role of Israeli intelligence in assisting the Saudi agents of influence to pull them off. How's that for a run-on? In so doing, it will put a close to an undoubtedly dark period of America's past misdeeds. We can, of course, prove that Richard Cheney, Peter Monk, and Paul Wolfowitz all knew about this crime of treason, as did John Kerry and Barack Obama. They didn't just know about it, Your Honors, they were active agents in their execution. In light of this, we are officially ordering only the harshest military penalties against all involved. As submitted on record, we agree this was an act of treason. And there's a fair amount of citations I'm not going to read at this juncture, but I'll put the link down. Count 1. We charge Peter Monk with breaking the offense of 18 U.S.C. 2381, the official offense against treason. He broke it 6 times, and for each offense we order a penalty. The offense carries an instant death penalty by firing squad. We further ask for review. The military has options: death by official firing squad, lethal injection, or life in Guantanamo Bay. Next, we officially charge Richard Dick Cheney for his part played in 9/11. Count 1. We charge offender Richard Cheney to have committed the offense of 18 U.S.C. 2381 8 times in respect to the crime of capital treason. His involvement in the Uranium One ordeal is now publicly revealed with Peter Monk. He will surrender his passport. Sentence is public death by firing squad or life in Guantanamo by military order. Next, we officially charge George W. Bush. They're both weenies. For his part in 9/11. Count 1. We charge George W. Bush to have committed the offense of 18 U.S.C. 2381 9 times. This is both in respect to his financial trades with Peter Monk, as well as his trades with Bandar bin Sultan, and his presence at the Twin Towers, where he was told in utter shock how it would all go down. Treason has no expiration date. He will surrender his passport. For sentencing, there are 2 options: 20 years in a harsh supermax prison or execution by firing squad. We will leave sentencing up to military personnel, who can flip a coin on whether it shall be prison or firing squad by military decree. Next, we officially charge Edgar Bronfman Sr. for his part in 9/11. Count 1. We charge Edgar Bronfman Sr. to have committed the offense of 18 U.S.C. 2381 8 separate times with respect to his public trades through Peter Monk, Kevin Spacey, and the Soros Management Fund at Barrick Gold North America. Barrick Gold North America, that sounds familiar. We also charge that Edgar Bronfman Sr. orchestrated the attacks with the assistance of George Bush Sr. and other plaintiffs. As such, he will surrender his passport. He is to be executed by firing squad and publicly seized. Military executes orders. And there's another citation I'm not going to read here, but I will tag the document.